Hello, this is Jeff Gaudiosi, and you're on misplacedstraws.com, where music comes to life. And my guest today is really one of the rising voices in rock and metal. He's probably best known for fronting the band Lords of Black. He was tapped by Ritchie Blackmore to front a revamped version of Rainbow, and now he's been teamed up with the amazing Alessandro Del Vecchio to front a new lineup of the band Sunstorm. Their first record together as Sunstorm is called Afterlife, and here to talk about it is Ronnie Romero. Welcome, Ronnie.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. And you've been part of the Frontiers Records family for quite a while with Lords of Black. How did you get recruited for the Sunstorm project? And is this the first time you've worked with Alessandro?
Yeah, fortunately, because because we are friends since many years already. We met like 5 years ago because of the Frontiers Rock Festival. I remember. He's a cool guy, and then we were, like following each other on the social, talking sometimes. He's a good friend, he's a great musician and producer. Then fortunately we had the chance now to work together. Finally, we were very happy to join this. I just got the call from Serafino from Frontiers, asking me to join because they were looking for a singer, and obviously I was really apt to do it from the beginning because I'm a huge fan of the Sunstorm project, and I'm a huge fan of Joelyn Turner. So obviously I said yes. It was really easy, and that's yeah, as I told you before, it's super cool to work with Alessandro finally.
And Sunstorm, for those who don't know, it has a pretty unique history. Began, as you said, with Joelyn Turner, as well as Dennis Ward and a few other guys from Pink Cream 69. It is really a traditional melodic rock band. Had some member shifts. Dennis left. Alessandro came in, again, with the amazing Simone Mulroney, who some may know from this first Sweet Oblivion record with Jeff Tate. And the band took a little bit of a harder rock direction. Was the decision to kind of go back a little more to the melodic side done before you came aboard, or were you part of kind of that whole talk?
Yeah, they really want to go back to the the vibe of the first records they did. And actually that was, I guess, I have no idea, but I guess that was one of the reasons that why Joe is not in the band anymore. And to me it's great because as a singer, sometimes you really have this feeling to prove yourself that you can do something out of your comfort zone. The people know me because I'm a heavy metal singer, and suddenly you have the chance to make something more melodic and more hard work in the vocal production side. So yeah, I took it as a challenge, and I think it's great.
Well, and that's exactly where I was going to go. I mean, with Lords of Black and some of your other projects, I mean, you're known on the heavy side of things. Were you apprehensive at all about being able to go in and do this melodic stuff that's so unlike what you've normally done?
No, actually, I was waiting for a chance like this, because I grew up listening all those melodic bands, mostly American bands like Boston, Kansas, and that kind of things. With my father, rest in peace. And I'm a huge fan of Journey, for example. One of my favorite singers is Steve Perry. So I was actually, it's funny because how the thing happens. At that time when I got the call from Serafino to join the band, I was with my fiance. We were listening to Sunstorm albums, and she told me like it would be great if you can sing something like this instead of heavy metal, because she's a more classic rock fan. And I say, yeah, that would be great. We love this album, and we were listening some Sunstorm records. And then suddenly I got the call from Serafino. We were happy.
And were you involved at all in the writing on this record, or did Alessandro take care of most of that?
Yeah, it was not needed to me to get involved.
Mhm.
You know, I don't have that much ego to
Yeah.
to put some pressure that I really need to put my name on it.
Mhm.
No, I think when you get a song and the song don't need to change anything,
Mhm.
you just need to sing it, you know. And to me, it was really easy because Alessandro is really good in the songwriting
Yeah.
side and did a great songs. But you know, I had the freedom enough to. Normally, when you go to the studio, you need to. When you do your own performance on the songs, because you're
Mhm.
listening to the demo from the producer, right?
Mhm.
Uh, and obviously there is some things that you need to change because of your accent or
Yeah.
your
Mhm.
performance. Some words doesn't work that good, or the vocal lines or something. So Alessandro, he told me like, just do your stuff and enjoy it, you know. And it was great.
Well, and it's cool because, as a fan of a lot of other projects Alessandro's done, from Revolution Saints on, you hear his stamp on it, and you hear Simone's guitar on it from the stuff he did.
Yeah.
But I think your vocal comes in and makes it your song. Even if you weren't involved in the writing of it, you get your stamp on there and it becomes, unmistakably yours with it, which is a credit, I think, to both you and Alessandro for letting you do that.
Yeah, I mean, mostly nowadays it's really hard to. Obviously, it's impossible to get all together in the studio, or
Mhm.
to get a songwriting process all together and have a brainstorming ideas or something like that, or go to the studio all together to record the album. That's impossible because of the flight restrictions and everything.
Yeah.
um, but at least, obviously, to me the most important thing when I get involved in a project is to obviously to like the music that I'm going to sing.
Mhm.
And to me that was pretty clear from the beginning, and then to have the freedom to put my own stamp
Right.
on performance, because if not, it will be like just the standard
Mhm.
project, and I think the people, they don't want to hear this kind of things anymore. They really want to hear the musicians doing like the things like they musicians we normally did in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. And, we mentioned some of the changes the band has gone through over the course of its lifetime. You mentioned Joe Turner's departure, and there's been just a lot of stories that have gone on over the past few months about what exactly happened there. Was Joe's departure explained to you at all, or was it just we have this opening, come on
I can say 50-50 because,
in?
yeah, as a huge fan of Sunstorm and Jolene Turner, my first question when Serafino called me was like about what happened with Joe. Was a natural
Yeah.
reaction, right? What happened with Joe, and this is gonna be okay, or but that's not my business. That's not my fight, right?
Yeah.
I just have a huge respect for Julian
Mhm.
Turner. I love him as a musician, and he did a great job in Samsung before.
Mhm.
And I think that all the this the kind of let's say controversy comes because he did a great job before.
Yeah.
Well, in a way, I can understand the fans that they are not happy with this changing lineup,
Mhm.
but I just want to call the people just to give a chance to the record,
Mhm.
because I think at the end, even Jolene Turner is not involved, I think is a great record.
Right. It really is. And was there ever any talk at any point during your involvement of using a different name, of knowing that, okay, people are going to come at this saying, well, Sunstorm, it can only be Joel Turner. Was there any thought of saying, should we call this something else? Or was it, no, we're moving ahead with the Sunstorm name?
I don't know, but I guess it's just a marketing movement.
Mhm.
Because obviously Sunstorm is already a huge brand on the rock
Yeah.
industry, so it makes sense to keep the name. I mean, imagine how many times Richie Blackmore should change the name just because the singer. Uh,
Yeah.
I think is that not important.
Yeah.
Obviously, because it was strongly related with Julian Turner, there is a kind
Mm.
of a controversy. But at the end, I don't think that the name is that important for the listeners to listen to music, you know.
Right. Yeah, you can call it whatever you want. It's a great record. And it's kind of switching gears a little bit. After a brief exit, you're firmly back in Lords of Black. Any update as to when we'll see some new music from that band?
Yeah, absolutely. We just obviously as you know, we released the Alchemy of Souls Part 1 last November, and the Alchemy of Souls Part 2 is already recorded. So it's going to be released later this year or at the beginning of 2022.
Yeah, part 1 of Alchemy of Souls was a great record. I think it's some of the best work the band has ever done. So really looking forward to part 2 of that. And yeah, and you've mentioned Ritchie Blackmore and Rainbow, which, oddly enough, following Joe Lynn Turner again. There's quite a few people in between you this time, though. I mean, does that still exist, or is it, kind of on a permanent hiatus now?
I can understand Joe because he looks like I'm always chasing him. Anyway, yeah, but you could, no, it's nothing so far. We had some plans to make a tour before all this COVID situation happens, but then the lockdown comes in and obviously they stop everything. And now Rich is focused on the Blackmore's Night thing.
Yeah.
So I guess obviously they're gonna wait until everything goes back to the normality. And try to set a plan. I don't know if they're gonna do it with me or with somebody else, but no information.
Yeah. And getting back to Sunstorm, the band has always existed kind of as a studio project. And I'll be the first one to admit that as somebody who loves live music, it took me a while to kind of warm up to the idea of these studio bands. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to invest in a song, if I knew I wasn't going to be able to hear it in a live setting. But over time, again, a great record's a great record, a great song is a great song, and there's been a lot of them that have come out of these studio projects. But as a singer who, owns the stage when you're up there performing, do you ever see there will be an opportunity to perform these Sunstorm songs live?
And not only Sunstorm, one of the main reasons when I join a band or a project is to have the chance to make it live. I think it's a very important side of the music.
Yeah.
And when I go to the production side, when they're recording the album, I'm always thinking that how I'm gonna sing this on live. That's very important, because normally when you are not thinking on this, you get a really overproduced music, and then when you go live, it's like you're listening this in the album, and then in live it's like this. So I'm always thinking on the live side. And thinking about how I'm gonna sing this live. So in every project that I get involved, there is always a chance to make it real on the live side. With the Ferryman, is the same thing. We tried to make a couple of shows a couple of years ago. It didn't happen at the end because there was a clash of the schedules. But if we had the chance with Sunstorm, I think we're gonna make it because even with Alessandro and Simone, we have a good chemistry. Right. And strong chemistry together, and it will be really great to play together on the stage. So if we can make it, we're gonna make it for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the chemistry of the three of you. That's something that really comes across on the record, and I've said this before in other interviews. A lot of times when you get people as established as yourself and Alessandro and Simone and put them together, it takes a record or two to gel, for you guys to figure out how to work together. But I think with Afterlife, you got that pretty quick. And is that something where just because you sort of had the time during the pandemic to really concentrate on doing this, or is it just that there is that instant chemistry between the three of you?
I think it's because the three elements. It's because of Alessandro, Simone, and I. We are good friends since some years ago. As I told you, Simone he mixed and mastered the first Ferryman record,
Oh, I
Uh,
didn't realize that. Yeah.
yeah, so I met him in Madrid and Italy a couple of times with his band DGM.
Hmm.
He's a great guitar player. With Alessandro, we're good friends. We met sometimes there in some shows. Every time that I play in Italy, he goes to the shows to meet, you know. So I think at the end, this kind of human relationship
Hmm.
it becomes pretty natural on the musical side.
Yeah.
So you actually even you can touch this when you're listening to the record. Like, okay, these guys, they're not just three elements. They're
Hmm.
in Italy, Bucharest, recording an album together. They are in a way together doing music, and that's what happens with the Sunstorm.
Yeah, and I think as you look at material that's been released through the pandemic, it's always that hit or miss. There have been a lot of releases where it's like, yeah, you could tell these guys weren't together at all. But then there are others like this, and another one that comes to mind is the new Wet record with Jeff Scott Soto and Eric Martinson, where it's that seamless. I mean, it almost sounds like you guys were all in the room together because of how well you know each other and can anticipate what the other person wants and what they're into.
It was really easy for me actually to record the album. As I told you, Alessandro gave me a lot of freedom to put my own stamp on the performance, and it was really easy because I was getting the tracks, going to the studio, recording the song, sending the tracks back, and he was telling me, "That's perfect. You don't need to remake anything. That's exactly what I need from you." And as I told you, the chemistry flows really natural
Right.
on this record. And then actually, I think that makes the difference because now nowadays, as you say, because of the lockdowns and everything,
Mhm.
you have a lot of bands doing a lot of records. You have all those quarantine videos where all the
Mhm.
members are playing in different
Yeah.
places. It
Mhm.
is a little bit cold, and you're losing the vibe from the live side.
Mhm.
I think that people they really want to see bands and not
Yes.
just
Yeah.
uh, studio projects.
Mhm. Well, we've been spending some time here with the amazing Ronnie Romero, new singer of the band Sunstorm. The new record is called Afterlife. It's out everywhere March 12th. Again, if you like melodic rock, a little bit on the heavier side too, Alessandro Del Vecchio and Ronnie Romero, you know what you're going to get. It's going to be great. And Ronnie, thank you so much for taking some time. Really appreciate getting to know you and talk to you a bit. And hope we get to do this again, either with Lords of Black or whatever the next project you have coming out is.
My pleasure, Jeff. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.